Signature Bank Studios.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Last week, Jelly Belly and company dealt a major legal blow after U.S. District Court Steve McGlynn down in Southern Illinois. I know Steve, good judge. Gutted key provisions of the state's in-state tuition, financial aid, and scholarships to illegal immigrants in Illinois. The so-called DREAM Act, the so-called RISE Act. This prevents Illinois from providing those subsidies. McGlynn delayed the order for 14 days, which provides the opportunity for the state to appeal. But nonetheless, at the district court level, the Trump administration is fighting on behalf of Illinois taxpayers and Illinois families to make sure that, Illinoisans are prioritized with their tax dollars and access and support to attend state institutions of higher education. It's nice. The Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers are doing what they can, Tom Homan and company. A suspect is in custody after he sexually assaulted a young child in Kane County last month. According to police, a 9-year-old girl was riding a bicycle in Kane County when the suspect took her off the bike, brought her to a nearby vehicle, and sexually assaulted her. The reporting from the Chicago Press Corps. The suspect, identified as 41-year-old Velasquez Muro, taken into custody without incident. He's been held pretrial in connection to the case. Oh, that's nice. At least in Kane County, they're holding pedophiles over for trial. What's missing from that story is that this guy's in the country illegally. How do I know that? Because unlike the Chicago Press Corps, to get the full story, you have to go to the federal government, the Trump administration. ICE asks Pritzker and Illinois sanctuary politicians to not release illegal alien arrested after kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 9-year-old girl in Kane County. So at least ICE is on the job and local police, even if the political power structure of the state, including in the suburbs, is not. Those matters, encouraging. For more on this and other matters, including local perspective, thinking back to all that transpired under this governor, in particular during COVID. Pleased to be joined by Mark Glennon, founder of Wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Mark, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hi, Dan, and thanks for leaving the door open there on the COVID thing. I listened to your segment on Fauci. Of course, that's extraordinary, but hopefully this will finally force a retrospective on Illinois' errors and Pritzker's errors in handling the COVID crisis. Pritzker was following Fauci word for word, often quoting him expressly. And Illinois and the press followed it too. It was abundantly clear, as you may remember, we followed this very closely, the COVID emergency, by no later than March of 2020, that we were getting peddled a lot of false information. It just jumped out from the data, and we began writing about it. We were called COVIDiots and all the rest, but everything we wrote was true. We've got it in detail. We'll go back through it and tie what's in there to Fauci. But Illinois made major mistakes because they followed what Fauci said and what the federal government was saying without challenging it, with blatant errors and things that should have been known to be false at the time they were made. It was apparent to us that they were false when made, and the documentation there is all there now. So we really need that kind of retrospective.
Yeah, well, we also need to do for ourselves a little bit here. We can only ask the federal government to do so much. So arguing about COVIDian pronouncements from federal authorities under two different presidents, sort of like arguing about our sanctuary state and state, county, city policies in Illinois, too. The federal government can intervene on our behalf, as the Trump administration did with respect to illegal immigrant predators, with respect to misapplication of taxpayer resources to illegals that are residing in Illinois free and clear because there's no interest in working with ICE. So we have to do for ourselves. And I would say the same thing with respect to COVID and the lessons learned with Governor Pritzker leading the nation in the amount of consecutive emergency declarations that kept us under COVIDian policies longer than almost every state.
Amen. You said it wonderfully. To get to your question about the Illinois decision on benefits, educational benefits and such to illegal residents, I read that opinion. It seemed very clear to me. It was decided on the basis of a federal statute that allowed federal money to be spent for illegal immigrants, provided there's no discrimination against U.S. citizens. Well, these programs that were challenged in Illinois were open only to illegal immigrants. So it seemed like a very straightforward opinion to me. What did strike me as a little odd is there was no discussion at all of the underlying fundamental right, which is that you're not supposed to discriminate on the basis of national origin, which is, assured under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment and various statutes. It was odd to me that the judge didn't get to any of that, and it'll be interesting if it comes up on appeal. But in any event, the decision seemed very sound.
Speaking of judges, we've talked about the case of a former Cook County Judge Jimmy Brown, who was reinstalled on a temporary basis on the Cook County bench because they're short judges, and so they provided an opportunity for retired judges. He was retired to come back and work for a year in the Cook County court system. So he applied, he was selected, he was installed, and then a bunch of these bar associations, which are just appendages of the DSA party, found out that he, while in retirement, wrote a pro-Trump op-ed, which was basically just sort of center-cut pro-Trump in terms of here's what I think Trump's accomplishments are, basically, for JohnCastNews.com. And the hue and cry, he needs to be removed from the bench because he's hopelessly politicized the justice system or some absurd argument. He was retired. So that's one, and the state Supreme Court moved in the direction of the bar associations and removed him from the Cook County bench. This is a matter of litigation now. Now, against this backdrop, we have a judge, Cook County Circuit Court judge, who has, her name is Cynthia Ramirez, who posted on her social media, F ICE, and she also called Trump a modern-day Hitler. She's currently on a Cook County Circuit Court judge, and yet partisan political messages of this sort, I think those qualify, for a sitting judge. He did it while retired. She's doing it while being a sitting judge, and nothing. So, I mean, just speaking to how kangarooish the courts are, particularly in Cook County.
just flagrant. And, these are our own judges. And in the case of Judge Brown, these are our top judges, the Illinois Supreme Court. They are the named defendants in that case,
right,
which makes it really juicy. And boy, I can't wait till that case is properly decided. I know the lawyers for Judge Brown were quite optimistic after a recent ruling that indicated that the judge understood the gravity of the charges against these judges. And it may take a while to get a decision, but that's just an egregious situation. And I hope your listeners get up to speed on what was done, because you will lose all faith in the Illinois Supreme Court if you understand the facts in that case.
Well, yeah, that's sort of past post at this point, but I guess your faith can be further diminished. But more hopefully, you could have some people that are parading around as members of some sort of opposition party actually take up some of these issues and make the arguments that you make at Wirepoints that I make on this program, but just don't seem to get picked up and distributed and enunciated with any sort of consistency. That's ultimately the rub. There's just not enough people that are taking up these issues and beating the drums where they can.
And therein is your third example, that young lady that was sexually assaulted by an illegal, and that's not emphasized or even mentioned in the press. Apparently, I didn't see the report that you mentioned, but this goes on and on and on, and the result is that so many Illinoisans are living in a fictitious world painted for them by the press that is not covering these things properly.
I mean, I go back like this weekend. It got a little pub, and you saw it on social media. These activewear Antifa types in Naperville, staging some walk around with their quote unquote homemade anti-ICE signs and all this business. And it's like, where is anybody? You don't have to do the same things they do, although you could. Where is anybody to provide pushback? I mean, in the neighborhood, in the civic groups, at a village board meeting, at a school board meeting, anywhere, the public square, somebody out there on the Riverwalk in Naperville with a bullhorn. I mean, just any evidence of intelligent life here, for God's sakes. Mark, please help me.
It's really a good question. At first I think it was people being intimidated. They didn't want to be called racists or xenophobes and such, and they were simply cowardly about that. It seemed pretty easy to explain, but I think those days seem to be gone. Everybody gets called a racist, so I just don't have any excuse for people, and it's like a nightmare has descended upon the country, and I feel like saying, snap out of it. What's going on here? Stand up for some common sense.
Mark Glennon, founder of Wirepoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Dan.
And Mark joined us on the alphawealthgroup.com answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in.